Well, it's been a minute, and now I got a laptop. Which means, in car terms, I just replaced my old hoopty with the computer equivalent of a Toyota Corolla. I mean, who actually uses a ThinkPad without taking a cold shower afterwards? Now that I think about it, does this mean I have to start drinking Arizonas and install Linux? Anyway, I have to use this wrist destroyer for something, so I'm gonna do some game development. Fucking big surprise, I know. Who'd have thunk it, right? So back when I was starting out making games, I'd heard of something called the 20 Games Challenge, and promptly completely ignored it because I already had plans and I hate doing things that are widely considered to be a good idea. Well, I finally decided to give it a shot because it actually kinda sounded like fun. So I looked into it, and there's an official website with all the relevant information to the challenge, which is what I'm going to be using. Now, on further inspection, you can see that you're only actually given the first 10 stages of games to make, with the last 10 games being up to you. Well, me in this case, actually. For every stage, you're given a choice between 2 or 3 example games to recreate and make a clone of, and when you're finished, you can move on to the next stage with slightly more difficult game concepts. I want to try and complete every stage over the course of multiple videos in a series as a way to challenge myself and make content for you gremlins. Now, the creator of this challenge recommends putting a time limit of at most 20 hours of work time per game, but since I'm a pedantic little shit, I'm going to do them all with 19 hours or less per game. I know that still sounds like a lot of time, but this bastard wants me to make either Minecraft or Portal at stage 10. And I hardly know anything about 3D game development, which means that's going to be fun for you guys and terrible for me. Anyway, let's get into it before the viewer retention rate drops anymore. On stage 1 we have the choice between either Pong or Flappy Bird, but since this is just the first stage and I don't want to completely steamroll this right off the bat, I'm actually going to make both in this video. It's just a bonus that Pong uses an AI for the opponents, so now I have an excuse to say AI a lot to trick the YouTube algorithm. Okay, let's just get Pong out of the way because it's just 2 bars in a box with a bit of AI sprinkled in there. I'll start a timer for 19 hours just for consistency, but there's no way it'll take that long. Alright, time for the sped up part that my videos always have. Go to a time on screen to skip it. Okay, Pong took a little bit longer than I expected. I guess I need to brush up on my vector math a little bit. At least failing to comprehend 6th grade math homework was the only issue I really had with it. I mean, you control a paddle, the ball bounces back and forth, and you play against an AI. There really isn't much to be said about Pong, to be honest. I made the enemy AI super basic, with it just flowing the ball back and forth at a random speed that changed every couple of seconds. Of course, the speed change would cause it to under or overshoot the ball every once in a while, which would make the game actually possible. It was kinda a pain in the ass to do. I think I need to work on my AI skills too. Anyways, it's Pong for Christ's sakes. Let's get into Flappy Bird where the actual game making meat and potatoes is. Flappy Bird is a game that got popular back in 2014 where you're a bird that flaps. There's also pipes to dodge as you fly through them, and your score increases every pipe you pass. It's some fairly basic stuff, and from what the challenge says, the difficulty is supposed to come from how you deal with the pipes moving past the player. Personally, I believe the hardest part is going to be making the assets from scratch. But, just to show how serious I am about it, I actually bought a sprite this time instead of pirating it. Sorry about that, I even donated $10 to make up for it. Okay, let's just jump into it and make some Flappy Bird. Speed build time because watching programming is actually very boring. Skip to
9 minutes 10 seconds.
if you don't care. Okay, now that the art's all done, let's take a look at it. I spent $30 to make this. I'm just gonna fix that real quick. Okay, now we have Flappy Bird, and it's actually kinda scary how addictive this thing is. While the art was a challenge, from a programming side of things, the real hard part was getting everything fine-tuned to actually be fun. Things like the weight of the bird, how high it flaps, the distance between the pipes, how often the pipes spawn, they all contribute to the overall enjoyment of the game. After I nailed all that down, I even added some smaller details like the camera slowly following the bird instead of it being just a static camera. My favorite detail by far is how the bird spins like a maniac after hitting a pipe. Not intended at all, but it's hilarious, so I kept it in. Note to self, use rotation degrees instead of just rotation in the scripts, or else the engine automatically assumes you're using radians for some reason. Alright, I've got both games done, so part 1 of this challenge is over. I actually had a lot of fun with these games because they gave me 2 different ways to challenge myself with game styles I've never made before. In the next video, I have the choice between Breakout or a Jetpack Joyride clone. Either way, those both sound fun to make in my objectively correct opinion. Lastly, the links to download and play these masterpieces will be in the description if you decide you want to do that to yourself. Other than all that, I'm outta here. Okay, so I'm gonna run a little experiment here and name a bunch of technology buzzwords to see if I can trick the YouTube algorithm. AI, OpenAI, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, prompt engineering, language model, machine learning, Google Gemini, GitHub Copilot, algorithm, Gen AI, what the hell is that? iPhone 16. There's also pipes to dodge as you fly through them, and your score increases every pipe you pass. My pop filter is working overtime today.